and discuss different approaches here in draft. When you see that Hanwha Life identifies Aatrox as being the main issue and not specifically Maokai, what is your take on these guys and the rest of the draft?
I felt like this was a kind of weird adaptation here from Hanwha Life because they left the Maokai open. We were pretty against that. We didn't like that at all. Ultimately ended up losing them the game as well. We can zoom in on that later. But then picking the Aatrox here blind early on when Doran has the opportunity to play Rumble into this, when it's also a Maokai composition, does feel really risky. And Doran did run the early laning phase. And then obviously the Blitzcrank pick here, don't hate it, but it I think limits how much you can team fight in the late game if you're not massively ahead.
Yeah, and also the Blitzcrank isn't necessarily that strong in lane as well. I think Life plays the Blitzcrank better than a lot of our other Blitzcranks here in the LCK. I think he has a lot of confidence. The guy picks up POGs almost every time he wins on the champion. So you can understand why they're picking it from like a comfort standpoint. But I want to go back to the Maokai. I think that like misidentifying what went wrong in the first draft is a large reason why things didn't feel as good going into this game. However, the adaptation in gameplay definitely worked out for Hanwha Life Esports, because the way that we need to talk about this game is that Hanwha won until they lost, right? So obviously what they did, it worked. As we jump into like this first like introduction of them doing well.
This Baron fight is not like the one that happens afterwards, because Hanwha Life have enough control over this zone. They've been getting objectives left after right, or left and right. I don't know why I said it that way, but anyway, they got all of the objectives essentially here in the early game. Genji weren't able to contest. They had this choke point controlled. The Maokai ultimate not too impactful here. Doran does a lot of damage, and then Viper has the outplay here on Paze.
Worked out for Hanwha Life Esports, because the way that we need to talk about this game
this fight
is
Genji,
that
it's fine.
Hanwha won
they
until
have the
they
great
lost.
Lockdown. The
right?
Maokai ultimate
So
is too
obviously
slow,
what they
obviously,
did,
to catch that
it
fight.
worked.
But
As we
this
jump
one
into
felt
like
the game
this
was doomed
first
at this point for Genji.
like
That was your last
introduction of them
chance.
doing well.
You didn't end up winning this fight. Baron fight
now
is not like the one they're that going to get Infernal Soul
afterwards,
because Hanwha Life have enough control over this map. You have no control over this zone, and they've been getting objectives left after right.
And then it all kind of goes wrong. But after this, Hanwha Life Esports does amazing things, gets themselves into a phenomenal position, and then Grizzly exits the pit.
How did this happen? Yeah, thank you. Well, what was that? Another trigger flip.
I think the fear here is, okay, if we don't turn this, we're going to lose this fight no matter what. And Grizzly is like, all right, then they're definitely in split calls here. And Grizzly decides to go over. Peanut gets the steal, but they lose the fight anyway. So they get neither the win or the Baron. And they decided to flip for this. When they had Infernal Soul, they could have slow played it. They could have backed away. They could have reset the Baron. You have so many advantages. Don't lose a game where this was Elder spawning in like 30 seconds. You lose this Baron, you lose the game no matter what. Even if you only lose like 2 members, they're just going to go get Elder, you lose. So why force this one? They got to end the game because they got the full wipe.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's not even necessarily a flip. They just gave the spatula to Gen G. That's what happened. They just relinquished their right to the barbecue. They weren't even allowed in. Like, they were cooking up a storm. Everything was great. If you rush down that Baron, you at least get the objective and you don't lose the game, right? Because Baron-empowered minions make it very, very easy for them to just pile down the mid lane and just win it. But I don't know, man. Like, that call was just not it.
That's what I don't understand. Everything was really clean and smooth so far on the side of Hanwha Life. When you think of game 1 and learnings, taking them to game 2, macro was clean, execution was clean. They were forcing plays, but the good ones, and they were setting up for the right place. So not being able to land at the finish line is quite sad for them. We'll see if they can recover from this one. But focusing on Genji, I think POG might go to Peanuts here.
I mean,
with the game-winning play.
What was his
Baron steals 1.
His quote at the end was, "Whoops, I just carried the game." I think was a quote from him in the ending moments.
Yeah, I mean, look, Peanut, the Baron steal is critical. He had a few great moments in the early game as well. He had 100% kill participation at 14. And once again, this Maokai is a huge problem. When the rest of the team is falling apart and Doran isn't having his best game outside of the laning phase on the Rumble, it did look doomed, but yeah, this call here from Grizzly is going to allow him to steal this, and then his ultimate as well helps Genji win the subsequent fight.
Yeah, the twisted advance actually just kind of beautiful because Peanut gets behind Grizzly and can then not be blocked moving into that pit in order to get the steal. The way he played it was amazing. 11 out of 11, right? Like,
I mean, there's no other choice.
No, there isn't. Like, that one smite is the game winner.
And I'm expecting some improvements and more methodical ways to approach the game on the side of Genji as well, because they should be the dominant team here in this matchup. Not to disrespect Hanwha Life though, because clearly they took some learnings into how they approach the game. But going to game 3, Hanwha Life is going to be playing a blue side, maybe ways to approach the game on the side of Genji as well, or them taking themselves the dominant team here in this matchup. Not to disrespect Hanwha Life though, because clearly they took some learnings into how they approach the game.
Like the Maokai pick,
but going to game 3, Hanwha Life is going to be playing a blue side, maybe ways to approach the game on the side of Genji as well, or them taking themselves the dominant team here in this matchup.
Otherwise, like, you just got to keep your heads on straight here, because a loss like that is really going to hurt in a best of 5, where you know you have to reverse sweep. You have no more room for error.
Yeah, and we can talk about the draft. We can talk about like banning Maokai's priority on Azir is looking decent here as far as getting that mid game and late game working out the way you want to, but it's exactly as Wolf said, like the draft is probably not going to matter that much. Can Hanwha Life Esports mentally get back into this series after that?
We have a bit more time here before we jump onto the I was about to say last game, the next game rather. I say last game because I think it's hard to mentally recover after a loss like this, which is my main...
We have to go back to the unbreakable spirit. It's the unbreakable spirit.
No, yeah, that's the hope here.
I feel like after what was a pretty good start to game 1, fantastic game 2, if they end up getting 3-0'd here, I feel like if you look at the results, it's not going to actually tell the story of this series. And it would be such a tragedy for Hanwha, who clearly came well prepared today, played out some great early games. Grizzly leveled up, I think, in both games, more than what we saw from in that last matchup against DRX. Fortunately, at the last moment of game 2, we'll kind of forget about that. But I really don't think if a 3-0 comes out here, it really... is that what Hanwha deserves here? I don't think so. I hope they bounce back.
Yeah, I kind of hope so too. I want an extra game at least.
Yeah, at least. We saw some good improvements on the side of Hanwha Life. So let's see if
it was so magnetic. Before I knew it, we talked and I think about you. Talked and I think about you. You told me that you've been waiting for somebody like me. Somebody like me. Somebody like me. Took you out and showed you the city. How'd you let somebody so pretty's what they said to me? Yeah, that's what they said to me. Well, they told me I didn't stand a chance, yeah. They my name, I panicked, so what do
I have you.
Yeah, you mess me up inside. It's like your energy was kissing my soul back to life.
我操！我怎么感觉从峡谷这边出来，我感觉这些人的感觉特别的萌呢。
There's no sign of life out here. I scream and it goes silent. I fight so hard, but I can't fight my way out. Lost all dimension and time. Locking up what's in my mind. And this goes down.
你别这样，你别这样抓人啊！我日他老奶，他能这样抓人呢？我这离谱了！你2级先吃蓝吧，别刷新刷河蟹了，河蟹肯定早就没了。
It also kind of worked out for Genji as a defensive pick. They're going to ban away the Nautilus as well. Seems like they want to get the Kai'Sa, want to leave it open. Hanwha, like, it's so tricky because if you ban away the Xayah, then you're leaving Kai'Sa quite uncontested. But if you ban away the Kai'Sa, they take Xayah, and Xayah is so good into Yone.
Yeah. Rakan's still available, so then Hanwha Life Esports have to pick the Rakan almost definitely, and then Genji get an option to counter that. So they take the Xayah, which means...
Just Kai'Sa it? I think it's correct to ban the Xayah in this situation. It's too good against what Hanwha Life want to do. But Life Esports would love to have Kai'Sa here, and I think Gen G have to not only deny it, but picking it for themselves is a massive boon. It would have to be the AD Kai'Sa, though. They are very heavy in terms of AP so far. That's not too much of an issue. You know, Viper played the last game to pretty great effect. And now Life Esports are going to go for the Viper Zeri, and as you said, they need to deny the Rakan, but also Life on the Rakan was pretty good in game 1 in the early game, and it syncs really well with the comp, so...
Ooh!
Oh, this is great. This is actually phenomenal, because originally, the first time we saw Maokai support in the LCK, it was Beryl playing it into Rakan. Really good matchup, because you can... Peanut's so happy he doesn't have to play Maokai.
I feel like all those theatrics actually worked on everyone.
Would love to have
like,
Kai'Sa
oh
here,
man,
I
he
think
feels so bad. He's got to play Maokai. He's definitely playing Maokai on everyone.
Would love to have
like,
Kai'Sa
oh,
here.
man,
Now he gets to play a fun
so
champ like Poppy, but
I
the
feel
thing
like
is, both champions are great at providing
Maokai
disrupting.
like,
Now
oh,
you
man,
champ play a fun champ like Dash, and you have a Poppy. So the control from Gen G is phenomenal, but also the Maokai matchup in the Rakan, if he W's in, you can W him at the same time, dodge the knock-up and lock him in place. You can even actually interrupt his dash with that, and point-and-click CC counters him. So I think it was a great adaptation from the side of Gen G there. I think they got a pretty solid draft once again, but the Life Esports factor, Aatrox and the Yone alongside Zeri for Viper, these are some definite comfort picks for these players, and they can pop off. They can make some waves.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we see the same 6 target bans 3 games in a row, both teams are going to get tools to actually make work. And, you know, we had a lot of tools put together for Life Esports in Game 2. They're going to feel like, okay, well, we probably should have won that game. Now we've got a lot of comfort. Let's make it work this time around. I'm very excited to see if they actually can. Whereas I do agree. I think that Gen G also did kind of get the last laugh with this Poppy pick. So we'll see. I mean, Peanut's Poppy, a thing of legend. There's a reason why this pick became popular. It's because of Peanut. Let's jump onto the Rift, guys, for game number 3. We are ready. Alrighty. Let's jump onto the Rift for game number 3. You ever just dance with the Sand Soldier?
Yeah, sometimes. I always love it.
Yeah.
You know, I love Zeka having such a range of emotes. All of them either shocked or angry. But also just the fact that it's like game 3, high pressure, and they're just still willing to throw down, have a little dance. And now, this is cheeky though. Like, guys, I've baited him into a false sense of security with my dance moves.
Yeah.
They don't find anything.
As long as you stand right where Chovy is, you're almost always going to be fine, even if they come out of the side brush. Grizzly now has to run all the way around. It's fine. He will be there on time. Not a big deal.
Yeah, interestingly, Life gone the spellbook on the Rakan. You know, there did used to be a trend. I remember when I was casting the LPL last year, it was On who went like spellbook like 4 games in a row.
On what? On who?
Everything. It would be harder to say what he didn't go spellbook on. It was like Leona, you know, it's just, he just, Leona, Rakan, pretty much every champ.
I was just memeing about his name, actually, but... But yes, please continue.
Yeah,
Spellbook
anyway, but I think
supports.
here the thought process being that you'll be able to switch to cleanse later on. It's going to make engaging a lot easier against the likes of Maokai. I assume is part of the thought process here, but also you get extra combat summoners. You know, if you're playing aggressive, forcing things non-stop, that does have an advantage. I think it ends up being weaker if you aren't forcing summoners, you know, because realistically you'd rather just have flash, but if everyone's flash is on cooldown, you can have that bonus summoner option.
Everybody loves a bonus.
Yep.
Let's see if Life can make it work for him. But yeah, I think his Rakan was good in game 1. Didn't really get a big opportunity to let it fly after the mid-game, though. As here comes Peanut. Just a casual 90% win rate on this. Again, like I said, there's a reason why Peanut and Poppy are a couple of words we say in the same sentence many, many, many times.
Because they both start with P.
Yeah. The alliteration is just
too powerful.
Too catchy. We just have to say it.
Yeah, well, good job from Grizzly, though, I will say, by spotting out Peanut, because I think if you end up on the Wolves and Peanut comes in and slams you into a wall, that's when things can backfire. But yeah, gonna look to be contesting this. Both junglers have smite. And it looks like neither solo laner is moving right now, but look at Life. He's made his way up.
Yep. And now, I mean, in this 1v1, Grizzly is taking a huge amount of damage. Even gets swatted by the blue buff. That's not fair, as Grizzly has to flash anyway. Peanut with the follow as the permafrost coming in. Here comes Chovy, somehow here before Zeka, and is going to take first blood. And Peanut is going to taxi onto the blue buff. I think he might be able to get away. Zeka does have a flash, and the flash comes in. Double flash now used to get on top of Peanut, who is still running away from them. And the Unbound Soul sends Zeka back, and Peanut gets out alive.
You know, if Game 2 didn't break Honor Life Esports mental, I think that play might just have done it. That is painful on so many levels. Life with a phenomenal roam up, only for it to not work out. Grizzly goes down, and then in the follow-up play, everything burned for nothing.
Yeah. If that happened in solo queue, the entire team is trolling right now. Like, immediately, okay?
Viper would just go top lane, he'd be like, I'm done, my support goes...
This game is
yeah,
over.
It just...
So, you know, I say it in that manner just because we really need to make it clear how big of a mental impact that is. Like, that really
that
hurts
hit
a lot.
That hit me, and I'm not even in the game, you know?
The Poppy getting away, man, that's frustrating.
That's the worst part, I feel, because the previous play was obviously, it wasn't great objectively, but the fact that Peanut got away after everything committed, both flashes from Zeka in Life, for him just to walk off, and now Grizzly's like, hey, I want to contest the jungle, and Chovy's like, no. And this is one of the things I was actually talking about before the series, is that I feel like if Chovy has prio mid, then it allows Peanut to really challenge Grizzly, and that is when he has struggled, when players like Peanut and Canyon have really taken the game to him and been very heavy-handed with invading and challenging him in the jungle. And you can see already it's panning out a similar way. Peanut's on the Raptors.
Well, Delight's here as well, so Zeka's in a lot of trouble. Goes over the wall, and now he's just, Unbound Soul, and maybe they get Viper over here. It's not looking likely, as Peanut's going to block that for a while. We got some members coming in, but it's just a couple of weak ones on the side of Life Esports. That's going to be 3 kills to the side of Gen G. This game is only 5.5 minutes in, and Gen G are already putting them in the dumpster.
That 2,000 gold up. Chovy is 3-0. You know, I said this before, but if that previous play didn't break, that meant...
Well, then this one surely did it, yeah.
Oh, man. As just the base damages from Poppy here doing so much to Grizzly. That Buckler with the blue buff chunks. And then here, Life comes in, doesn't have the shield, but the heal from the Q does a lot, but Chovy gets there first. And then here in the follow-up play, the call is clearly we can't let him get away with this. And the W, oh man, the thing is, if Zeka had gone the other way,
well,
maybe there's so many.
Chovy also had red buff though, so it's like can't really go that way or you die.
This just hurts. And yeah, Zeka trying to defend his jungle here, but he's so low, and it's a beautiful trap by Gen G. I mean, credit to them for making this happen. But you just see this moment where Zeka's just waiting and they're buying time, and it's just. The problem is they try and save him, so more people end up dying than just the one.
Yeah. It's almost like, okay, guys, let's really play as a team. Oh, it's too easy, he says.
Oh.
It's too easy for General Peanut. And
he's so happy he didn't have to play Maokai this game.
And honestly, it looks really easy for him in this one. I think, yeah, it's almost like they came in with this attitude like, okay, we're going to really support each other. Let's make sure, like, Life is level 2, trying to get over there, trying to help. And that's that twisted advance you were talking about. Delight going to utilize that here as Viper will ult. And we'll get a nice amount of pressure here, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing, is that... Oh.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, that's a trade of Flash for Flash Cleanse.
Yeah, pretty good. Honestly, good read from Delight. It looked like a moment where Honor Life Esports had the pressure, but they find the angle to burn those summoners in return. Delight not had the best start to the series. First 2 games, I think he was underperforming, but this game, setting up the trap with Peanut, making that play, being pretty positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here comes Grizzly. He is level 6. Could try to throw it into Delight, who doesn't have Flash. Well, the Korean commentators just screamed, okay? As now Paze is going to cleanse, and he is away with his ult.
You know, if those previous 2 plays didn't break on like,
Oh, please don't do it to them.
mental.
Oh, man.
I'm not sure what. I'm assuming it's something to do with the spell book and him thinking he had a different summoner, or thinking he had Hex Flash, or
Yeah,
something along those lines.
I thought he had Hex Flash, and he probably thought he used the Flash on the last play, as now they are setting up a nice gank here for Paze as life is on the chase, but guess who's here again? Oh no! It's Peanut is going to get life. At least they get Delight, as finally HLE Esports get 1 kill in this game.
They bounce back,
Yeah.
right? They're back, right? It's not over.
Chovy is going bot, but no, they're just going to let him go.
Man, it is just being almost like, it's not even specifically like a comedy of errors. It's just like a comedy of really unfortunate situations for HLE.
Chovy's just waiting for that unbound soul, and he's standing up to him.
Yeah, I think, so we've seen this matchup in game 1. The difference is in that game, it was Zeka who ended up with 3 kills, not Chovy, who is now 3-0-1 with a 20 CS lead. And if you compare, Zeka has Boots and a Doran's Blade.
And a Doran's Shield.
Oh, true, valid.
Don't forget.
Chovy basically nearly has his Leandries done.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I guess in theory it could be a crown again.
Yeah, could be.
Whatever it is, it's nearly done.
Yeah, he'll have that. Has that dagger early as well, just to help with some attack speed. Did that in game 1. And yeah, I mean, your mid lane, you were talking about trying to get Peanut to be able to attack Grizzly one-on-one. Just getting that done once again.
Ace Dragon Chemtech 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
I'm on point today.
Well,
it's not an Infernal Soul this time, though.
True.
So
What
get
does
a
it
different
mean?
soul
Maybe it's a Cloud Soul. Atlas is the
means-
Atlanalist
you know what it
today, turns out.
It means the light is very happy, because his saplings won't, all the brushes won't get eliminated.
Yeah, that's nice. Also, we're seeing, we haven't really had time to talk about it too much, but I really liked the Cassante pick into Aatrox as well. Can deal very easily with a lot of the sweet spots. I feel like it's a better answer in this current year and current meta into Aatrox compared to the Ornn of old. As over the wall we go, in is the Poppy, as we do have Grizzly here, double knockup, but a lot of low health bars here on the side of Gen G, as Doran on the all-out is trying to get away, but can he, as Zeka comes in and just picks up the kill.
They're back. They've bounced back. They get a kill. You know, it's originally Gen G who are looking for the play, but the AoE damage from the Aatrox super dangerous to get it up close and personal to. And now, HLE Esports looking to transition straight into a Herald.
He has a crown, but he doesn't have Smite. Neither does Grizzly.
It's like a
Guys,
oh,
guys!
There's no way.
Oh,
There's
man.
no way.
I don't even, yeah, this is rough. Chovy's just gonna kill them both. I mean, Grizzly's coming in here. He's trying to taxi Zeka out of here, as now we do have the charm underneath the turret. They should be able to get pace, right? He's burning.
There's no way.
Oh, the bounce. I think that last bounce is gonna get him. Unfortunately, life does go down, but at least Viper picks up. Oh, well, I guess he didn't even get the kill, but at least they got the kill.
So let's rank them. Losing last game when you'd been winning the whole time, the first early play, the second early play, or Chovy stealing the Herald. Which is the biggest tilter?
I'd say the game 2 one.
Probably, yeah.
I'd say that one, and then I think the Chovy one is next.
I think as well, the Chovy one was after a string of them.
Yeah,
so it feels more
it's extra
significant.
power, yeah.
Oh.
Fortunately. I mean, Gen G, you saw the attitude of Peanut. He's like, this is easy. He's just having a great time. Like, they are just, you know, rolling over HLE Esports too heavily. They're like, well, they gave us an opportunity. We took it. Okay, we take the win. Nice.
Whereas this feels like a harrowing experience for HLE Esports.
Yeah.
My sympathies go out. And yeah, I mean, this play, they get hit by the big sweet spot at the end, and the blast cone, which I'm sure you love, ends up disrupting the situation.
Well, at least it caused some action, rather than getting somebody to safety.
And then here,
in live, it looks like Paze kind of getting bullied a bit here on the bottom side. Does not have flash. Looks like he is just dead. Trying to turn that one around. It's not going to happen. They waited in the brush. And now Viper on this area, 2-0. I mean, it was a nice early lead for Gen G, but the game isn't over yet.
You know, I've joked a lot about how hard it is mentally for HLE Esports in the back of all these mishaps in the game 2. They're still trying. They haven't stopped. At no point have they given up despite all of that. And they're still trying to make plays happen.
Yeah. Well, this is Grizzly in a really unfortunate spot. He will have to flash away. Looks like Peanut and Delayed don't want to follow too far, especially with Chovy with a big wave under his turret, but they are going to get the flash out of Grizzly. As now, okay, well that wasn't it, but good effort, I guess. Kingen is on the chase, as he's not quite going to hit that second sweet spot.
It's been a while. Doran's been like pretty consistent recently. That was a Doran moment,
Yeah.
you know, where he just kind of randomly nearly gets himself, or often does get himself solo killed.
But it's okay.
But it's fine.
Because it doesn't really go, well, let's be real, because he's playing Desante. He's going to survive. He will be just fine. And yeah, the big lead is definitely in the mid lane. As we mentioned before, Chovy got...
He's nearly got 2 items.
Yeah.
And Zeka doesn't have an item.
Not yet.
Not yet, is true. Yeah, here, the exhaust as well burns the cleanse immediately. And didn't even have the ult in the situation. Wasn't even needed. But that would have been huge if you burnt the cleanse and then ulted. But either way, they end up taking down Pays, getting a kill for Viper. And that might be the saving grace. The 2-0-1 Zeri. Because realistically, when I think about team fights, as long as Zeka hits a big R, who really cares? And Viper can just do the carrying. Kingen can do the big damage with the sweet spots.
Sure.
You know, that's the copium right now, if you're a Honor Life Esports fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is still an angle. If we just remove any kind of like, the mental boom, etc., you know, we're sitting in a position where it's kind of Azir versus Zeri. We've seen Zeri do crazy things in the past. And not to mention that the Aatrox up against another tank is mostly getting a free lane. He is behind 10 CS, but like, that's okay. Picked up an assist. He's doing just fine. It's Kingen, right? Could definitely see some angles where if Gen G don't lock this one down a little bit more, maybe Humble Life Esports do to Gen G what Gen G just did to them.
I mean, there's a lot of engage, and if they kill Chovy, they immediately wipe such a large amount of gold off the map. So just kill Chovy, I guess, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult because he's Azir with Crown, and they have Poppy, who can position aggressively, and Maokai.
It's Ocean Soul. You know, Peanut, 2 games in a row, he has Infernal Soul with Maokai, where you have no brushes, and then Delight plays it 1 game in high rolls and gets like the infinite brush map.
You know, what are you doing? Hey, he's having maybe a little bit too much fun. We were just talking about how Humble Life Esports can come back in this game. That is a shutdown onto a Yone, who was very far behind, just feeling much better about his position.
The Krugs were worth it, but, you know, Fetus is having a good time. But yeah, it's a good punish, and Zeka getting the kill is massive as well. Good influx of gold for him. I believe Peanut had a small bounty.
Yeah, it's
so
2-0 and 3.
Pretty nice. And now it comes down this Dragon in 30 seconds. We have seen item completions across the board for Humble Life Esports. They really don't want to give over. I mean, to be honest, individual Ocean Drakes aren't that valuable this late in the game. Well, I mean, even past the laning phase. But the soul will still be very valuable, so they definitely want to try and take this fight and not let Gen G just stack them up.
Yeah, I mean, if they can control vision in the in the river, that would definitely be very nice. As could definitely get them into a good spot to get some of those engages going. As let's see how it goes. I mean, it does seem like both teams are going to be gearing up for this fight.
So importantly, Chovy's crown is down right now. And the big thing is, if they kill Chovy, kill Pays, that's the goal for Humble Life Esports. Kill one of the carries, and you should just be able to clean up the tanks, but Life has Smite, he's gonna go for it. No, he's not.
Okay,
I mean,
never mind. Yeah, okay.
You know what it is? Do you know what happened last game? Humble Life Esports got all 4 dragons in Soul, and they lost. So maybe they're like, hey, why don't we just give over Dragon, give over Soul? It's cursed.
Yeah, you know, we have seen a little bit of that, for sure. As Gen G gonna get started here on this Rift Herald. They do have the top lane turret under a bit of pressure. We did see Kingen was up there pressuring. That is now teleporting the bottom side. Looks like Humble Life Esports not going to fight over this one. I feel like Humble are almost like, okay, well, let's slow things down. Let's not get too out of hand. You know, we've got a couple of big picks. Viper got one, Yone got one, and here's the one that Zeka got earlier on. Not really,
Pretty straightforward.
yeah.
Yep. So, again, this just puts more pressure on this next Dragon fight for Honor Life Esports, because by that point, Baron is going to have spawned, and it's kind of going to come down to that. I don't think like Ocean Soul is like an auto win for Gen G, but generally speaking, Ocean Soul is better the bulkier you are, because you get more benefit from the sustain. Even though obviously like it's a flat heal, the thing is champions like Cassante, champions like Maokai, champions like Poppy will survive long enough to get the benefit.
Yeah.
So Gen G's comp will just be able to really mitigate any poke that comes out for Honor Life Esports, but also just the tanks will be so much more durable, so definitely helps with their chances of winning, but I don't think it makes it impossible if they do get it. But still, Honor Life Esports, when comfortable approaching that previous one, next one will be a must, and I think maybe leaning towards the 2-item spikes. Zeka should have Shield Bow by then. You know, we should have Sereldas for King and he's going once more, and the Navori for Viper.
Yeah, just biding their time. It does look like Gen G also kind of biding their own time after a couple of mistakes, just saying, okay, we got the dragon, just farm it out. You know, we're still ahead. A couple of mistakes here as we do have a little setup here from Grizzly. Sun turret in position. Let's see if they actually do go for this, as Peanut is here as well. Just gonna throw up the stopwatches. Now they try to get in. The Wombo combo is there as they have the damage. No, they don't. Toby is gonna live for so long. And Peanut is gonna keep him alive. Delight just sends an ult for good measure. As Peanut is gonna keep him in this one. As now they're doing Baron.
I mean, yeah, go for the Baron. You bin a lot. No ult from Peanut, which is obviously Peanut.
Yeah. Well,
just spice it up. Throw a Herald down.
Yeah, sure. You know, just could get interesting. As now, Peanut does not have the ult. Doran's going to take Grizzly out of the pit. He gets back in, and the smite. The Rakan. The Rakan. As Life is going to get it down. Now, though, the fight afterwards, Chovy gets in. The damage is done. Pays, picks up a one. Well, actually, he tries to get in there. They can't quite get another one, but it's still a double kill here to Chovy. As at least the Baron goes to Honor Life Esports, I guess.
That was just so comedic, the way that all panned out. Just heavy. I think it was the right call from Honor Life. They had the double smite, they had the confidence, they knew Peanut had no ult, and Chovy was chunked. And here, this is a situation where Chovy actually kind of dodged it, but didn't have confidence and just stopwatched immediately. The follow-up play, it looks like it's going to be enough. The Peanut does a great job of disrupting, and a phenomenal ult there on the back end. So they survive, but immediately Honor Life Esports go to the Baron, and then the Herald in the pit, so we get the double. How rare is it that you see both Void creatures in the Baron pit together? And then in the ensuing play, Doran drags Grizzly out, but the problem is 2 smites, so Fierce comes in, second follows. But even so, you know, Viper repositions out the pit, but Gen G holds strong as a 5-man together, and Honor Life Esports eventually just escape. They get the Baron, they only lose 2. I think it's still fine, but the 40 seconds until that Dragon, and they didn't really get that much gold. If we look at the top left of our screens, only up about 700, and they need to win this fight, and a lot of summoners were banned. King and no flash, Grizzly no flash, Zeka no flash, but on the other side, no one on Gen G has a flash either.
Yeah, it's very true, as now Viper just being zoned. They're just surrounding them, I guess. Grizzly gonna get caught out here, just gonna charge away as the Sun Disc is in, but what is going on in this game? Ult's gonna come through Grizzly. Looks like he's in a lot of trouble and will get taken out as they're trying to take down the Dragon, but
no, they don't. They don't have time.
It's a bit too little too late. No smite here this time for Life.
I think they just want to try and fight it.
Just gonna ult into the nether, okay. Chovy, they have their smite with Peanut, so...
Yeah, Life doesn't have smite this time.
Ocean Soul. Zeka, though, trying his best, trying to get on in there, but the damage is too much, gets swept up and killed alongside of the Ocean Soul. That gets smited down by Peanut. As Baron has recall, it's going to be very lucky for him, but he has that to get away.
So now Gen G, the gold lead isn't super significant. A lot of it is on Chovy, but that's the thing, right? You know, you're not really that bothered about total team gold. It's about how much gold is on the carries. And 3 items on that Azir is very significant. Ocean Soul and Pocket as well, going to make things even harder. I don't think it's unwinnable for Hanwha Life Esports. I think they've been demonstrating that, but it is getting harder. It is going to become more difficult. And all in all, it's going to be about finding that big engage. We do see Kingen going for the Black Cleaver this time, so a bit bulkier this game, not going for the Glass Cannon build on the Aatrox.
Going to be able to chip away at some of that armor on the Cassante and the Poppy and the Maokai and the Azir. Definitely going to feel pretty good in an extended fight at least, but really I'm just not sure if they have the answer for Chovy. Like, Hanwha Life Esports have their own answers in terms of like, okay, they've got Viper, he's 2-0-1, he's pretty fed. Yone can be serviceable, Aatrox can be serviceable. They don't need to be like insanely fed to get work done. But again, like, who's killing Chovy?
Yeah, and the thing
my
is,
question.
Chovy has his very defensive build with the Crown and the Zhonya's, and it's obviously less damage output than other builds, but he does enough damage. And the thing is, it's just about surviving, and if Hanwha Life Esports just try and hit Gen G's front line, they lose. They have to get on the back line, and one of them is a Kai'Sa who's super mobile and hard to pin down, and the other one is basically an immortal Azir, who's going to be probably about as hard to pin down, maybe even harder. And the thing is, summoners are coming back up. Flash is going to be up for a second in Chovy, and Paze is having his soon. I do think something I want to praise is game 1 when Hanwha Life Esports fell behind, they didn't do much. And they let the game bleed out, and they weren't forcing summoners, so when it came to the big fights, they were all available. They've done a much better job this game of doing that, but honestly, I think you have to try and force some stuff in the next 2 minutes before Elder spawns. Try and get Chovy's Flash, maybe Paze's Cleanse or something like that, because if you just wait for the Elder fight and Chovy has Stopwatch, Crown, Flash, he isn't gonna die.
4 items at that point.
Oh no.
Not yet, just 3.5 items, but by the time the Elder buff Dragon does roll around, could have that. And we're gonna have the Baron first, right? We have a minute here until the Baron spawns, so already with the support Maokai, you just build tank, you throw down saplings and all the brushes, you get a ton of vision, and you control space.
Yeah, I think Gen G should push for the Baron, because with the Ocean Soul and so many tanks, they can tank the Baron pretty indefinitely. They'll never drop in HP because of the Soul. But also, if you let it go down to an Elder and it comes to a flip, and let's say Hanwha Life Esports have double smite, or even if they don't, if Grizzly gets a God smite, that will win them the game, potentially. Whereas I think if they set up the Baron correctly, I don't think there's that many avenues for Hanwha Life Esports to win, so I think they should look for that angle and set up there. Get a million saplings in every brush.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Delayed is doing at this point in time. We did see that Zeka tried to take a trade with Chovy. I don't think he's going to be trying to do that again. He lost half his health bar.
He had to test to see if we're doing, and it
I think he got the crown off. I wasn't even 100% sure. Yeah, it's back. So,
you know, before in game 1, I can't remember specifically what it was, but never mind.
Life in a bit of trouble here is going to get locked down. Does have a stopwatch as now the ult goes in onto Peanut, who is incredibly tanky, but this is going to force the Nature's Grasp out pretty early, just in trade for the stopwatch from the support of Hanwha Life Esports.
Grizzly?
He's going pretty ham, as now that was pretty confusing. Oh! They get Chovy! They took down Chovy! And that's all they had to do! Paze trying to fight front to back, but look at Viper! They killed Chovy! And I was asking how are they going to do it? Well, I guess just like that is now Paze is getting hunted down, and Hanwha Life Esports, now they're going to push down the mid lane.
Hanwha Life Esports get the memo from last game. It doesn't matter how the game goes. It's only the last fight, and they find it. Grizzly with some insane bait there where he goes in. It looks so int. And
what a genius.
It allows Life to get that phenomenal engage.
So Darn's going to try to back now. We do have Peanut coming up in 5 seconds.
I don't think it's enough. There's too much damage.
This one is closer. Let's see. I mean, the light's here. The Twisted Advance comes in. The Poppy ultimate, and you know what?
Oh, no.
They're not going to commit to it. No. Even if they did have the option, they're not going to commit to it. And it was really close, but Hanwha Life Esports not going to try to end the game just yet.
I think this might top the list of tilters. they
No, I think game 2 is still worse.
Okay, well, the problem is, if they lose this game, they're out, and Kingen has no TP, and he spawns about the same time as Elder. So, it's going to be rough. Stopwatch is great here from Life. He would have just died immediately otherwise. But here, I mean, we end up seeing a situation where Grizzly goes in what seems so crazy.
Oh, they got Baron too.
And then he flashes out, and Life is like, that is my window.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Pays has a phenomenal flash there. Great read. He did also have the cleanse to help out. But Chovy has, Zonya's had flash. Just gets caught. And the rest of the team crumbles as a result.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we joke about it, when the Sejuani dashes into 5 of you, you're not immediately going to be like, oh crap, like, I got to be ready to flash away, right? You're not going to expect the Rakan to come flying in after the Sejuani flashes out.
Grizzly used the ultimate tool, Comic Relief, right? He was so confused
It
that
worked.
they were caught off guard. And now, Kingen's back up because Gen G went for the Baron. Unlike Esports got time to reform. And, you know, we talked about the last fight being the big one. That is going to be the case here. Yes, Gen G have the advantage in gold and with the soul, but if Life Esports get Elder, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Might just come down to an Elder. Doran in position here. Next to Grizzly, we see Peanut now on the flank, this time not caught. Zeka trying to do his best, trying to poke on in. Chovy holds on to his crown, which again is going to be incredibly important. You see Gen G is taking this very slowly. They win the poke wars with their Ocean Soul.
Yep.
And their huge front line as well, right? So just pushing Grizzly away. The ult is thrown in, the third Q comes out, and Grizzly's just dead. A nice try, but it doesn't look like it's gonna pay off for the HLE Esports jungler. So Gen G, nice pick off.
What can you do here? Life doesn't have smite. I think you just have to force a fight as soon
Gotta
as possible.
send it. Gotta send it. Gotta do something. Gotta press your buttons. You're gonna lose to Elder Soul anyway, but they say, well, they almost zapped that away, but it's still Gen G who is going to pick up the objective, and now they have Exodia.
And it feels like Grizzly's been targeted so hard this game. Once again, Doran finds an angle, and the thing is, what else can you do as a Sejuani? You have to try and approach the dragon here, but just ends up splitting a bit too much from the team, and knowing he has no flash, Grizzly sees what's going to happen before it can, but he's in no position to counter it. Gets caught out, and now Gen G, you can't poke them. They have Ocean Soul. You can't clear the minions. They have Baron, and you certainly can't fight them with Elder. They are doing a good job of clearing the minions now that I say that.
I mean,
but
Gen G are in a weird, they're in some kind of weird, like, 3-2. They've got Doran with Chovy, maybe just as a bodyguard, I guess, after what happened before.
I think of all the champions in the game, K'Sante does look like a pretty good bodyguard.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good, could be a suitable career future.
Yeah, if he gets tired of being a broken league champion, featuring in copy pastas everywhere, then it's...
Yeah, if you get nerfed enough, you know, it's time to move on. Yeah, so Gen G, anyway, they still have this Baron, and as I say that, it's gone. But they still do have the Elder, which is what I meant to say. So the poke is coming in, and you see Zeka just going to get locked up against the wall, and the poke is just huge as Jovi's just going to take him out. And that must be the nail in the coffin now. They're going to get the knock up here on a Viper as well. They're going to make this last fight at least clean, unlike the other 50 fights we had in this game, as it is a clean ace to the side of Gen G, and it is a clean 3-0. Nothing to see here from Gen G as they take down the series and will move into the winner's bracket up against
I think Gen G maintaining the form they had in the regular season. I think for Life Esports, the score does not tell the story of this series. So close to winning that game 2. And there were moments in this game 3 as well. It's a frustrating one, but I think if they treat this as a learning experience, they still have chances in playoffs. They still have chances to go to Worlds. And ultimately, they showed some of that today. Grizzly, I think, first big challenge in playoffs. And definitely a struggle, but hopefully can learn from this. He's been growing throughout the season. But really, a bit of reflection on today will do a lot of good. But yeah, Gen G making a statement today with KT